Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to thank Genevieve and Nicole and Trevor for putting on an excellent Polycon, and also thank them for giving me a 12:15 lunch speaking slot. So I know all of you are hungry, but it's my pleasure to be here today to speak about Hut 8 Mining. Hut 8 is a mining company, a cryptocurrency mining company that has a very unique relationship with one of the major chip manufacturers in the space called Bitfury. Okay, so Hut 8, what does the name Hut 8 refer to? Well, we came up with the name Hut 8 for a very specific reason. It is the actual location where Alan Turing decoded the Enigma machine for World War II. So not only did that save millions of lives, but it also utilized cryptography, which is a founding pillar of the blockchain technology. So we've been very busy since we started this in the fall of 2017. So the company was formed and we immediately did a private placement of $35 million. We were very fortunate and we upsized the deal to $38 million. And incidentally, we had over $400 million of demand on the book. So it was a very compelling offer, a very compelling price, and we were very excited with the market and how it was taken and received. So we completed that phase. With those proceeds, we actually purchased 7 BlockBox data centers, which is 7.7 megawatts, already operating in Drumheller, Alberta. We also put in a purchase order for 15 additional BlockBoxes to be delivered in June of 2018. The second phase is close to subscription receipt financing, and we raised $100 million. And the proceeds from that raise are actually held in escrow, and I have great news. We've just received word that we will be listing on the TSX Venture on Tuesday. So it's going to be an exciting opportunity. There's been a lot of hard work. The subscription receipt funds will be released and we'll purchase another 25 BlockBoxes, and with the funds that we raised immediately on February 7th, we actually purchased another 10 BlockBoxes. So we currently have 18.7 megawatts in operation with another 40 boxes on the come. We've secured energy for all of these megawatts, but most importantly, we have a grandfathered allocation of chips from Bitfury to roll out an additional 165 megawatts for the rest of the year. So we'll have 220 megawatts in operation by the end of the year. We also have over 600 Bitcoin in our account. So some of the highlights: our relationship with Bitfury, very unique. Our relationship with Bitfury is governed by 2 documents, a master services agreement and a purchase order agreement. Basically, it stipulates that they can only sell their services and ancillary equipment around mining to us through Hut 8, and furthermore, they have to service and operate those data centers. So what this presents as an investment opportunity is zero operating risk. Bitfury has been around since 2011, over 400 million in revenue, over 600 employees in 16 countries. They are truly one of the leaders in the space. They're part of an oligopoly that has the chip manufacturing, and it just makes it very compelling because they are currently operating 172 megawatts globally in Asia and Iceland and in Norway, and now the focus is North America. So another important point worth highlighting and just talking about for a second is the board that we've put together. So the vision for Hut 8 is really to become an industrial-sized utility play. At the end of the day, scale will win this game, or at least that's what we believe and that's what we intend to pursue. We want our marginal cost to roll out the next megawatt to be always cheaper than the next competitors. We've assembled a board which includes established Canadian, but also international venture capitalists and proven financiers. So, of note, Mr. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital is on the board. Bill Tai is actually chairman of the board. Bill Tai is one of the original members of the Taiwan Semiconductor. He was employee number 1, so he has extensive semiconductor experience. He was also a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley, wrote the first $250,000 check into Twitter. Very successful, very accomplished. Valery Vavilov, he's the CEO of Bitfury, sits on the board. Jerry Sinclair was the GM of Microsoft in Canada. And Dennis Mills was an Ontario parliamentarian, and Jeffrey Mason has extensive operating experience in the resource mining industry. So we are building a large utility company. We have a long-term vision, and at the end of the day, when you have access to chips, access to large footprints of electricity and capital, we believe that it's all about execution, so that's what we're putting in place right now. So let's talk about Bitfury for a second. They have been able to innovate and iterate because they've been in this game since 2011. They've already made the mistakes that many other people will try to replicate now. So that gives Hut 8 a distinct advantage. One of the interesting things that they've come up with is the block box. Sorry. The block box is a CCAN container. It's a 40-foot container. It houses 100,000 ASIC chips on 176 server boards. It consumes 1.1 megawatt of electricity, and it does 7.5 petahashes of hashing power. So that's 7.5 quintillion computations per second. At the end of the day, one of these boxes, at current prices, the payback is within months, especially at these margins. But what's important to note, and what I would also like to highlight, is Hut 8 and Bitfury, we are agnostic on the price of Bitcoin. If the price goes up, as everyone knows, mining margin increases. However, if the price goes down and there was a correction back in December, as we've seen, what will happen is that we will gain market share because many of the inefficient miners will leave. So, again, to reiterate, we are building a utility company. We believe that the digital currency asset class will, like RBC stipulates and projects, be a $10 trillion industry. Hut 8 intends to be one of the founding operating utility companies that is protocol agnostic and is securing the entire worldwide ledger. What I mean when I say protocol agnostic is that we will not just be mining Bitcoin with ASIC chips. Bitfury has been R&Ding GPUs. We will be rolling out over 20 megawatts of GPU mining this year. So at the end of the day, we will mine whatever coin, whatever protocol is profitable and is the largest. Okay. So I've spoken about the block box. Again, what these allow us to do is allow us to be scalable. So what we are becoming is electricity hunters as opposed to beholden to invest infrastructure in one particular location. And I've gotten in trouble for saying that. There's a negative connotation. At the end of the day, we have been offered 0-cent electricity in Venezuela and Russia. But what we like about Canada is the rule of law and the stability, right? We're not going to get nationalized. The military will not come in and take away our block boxes. We would rather partner with the community, invest in jobs, invest in the economy, and actually pay taxes and become part of the fabric of the actual jurisdiction where we're investing tens of millions of dollars in some instances. So these allow us to scale in and around stranded energy areas or areas that are very remote. We do not need an internet connection. They connect to the internet via satellite, and we can run them on generators or next to a hydroelectric dam. It just allows us flexibility and scalability. This does not mean that we are just going to pick up and go, not at all, because we have to invest tens of millions of dollars in an infrastructure in and around it. What it does mean is that we don't have to commit to a 100 megawatt fixed site installation, which we can do, but if the capacity of the high tension lines comes in, we can just add more boxes in and around. Scale up or scale down. Very powerful tool. So again, highlighting that we will be mining both ASIC and with both ASIC and GPUs. Again, because we believe in competition in this space. Again, we want to be one of the major players, and we believe that you cannot just be a Bitcoin maximalist. You have to be agnostic if you are going to support the entire industry. We keep all of our mined Bitcoins in Zappo, which is a FINRA-regulated custodian in Switzerland, very secure. And again, I don't think I have to talk about this with everybody in this room. It's a very compelling story of the growth. But what's important to note is, again, we're agnostic on the price of Bitcoin. We're long Bitcoin and long other currencies. Through capitalizing through going public, we're able to not sell coins, keep them on our balance sheet, sell them, lend them out. That's a big difference. As opposed to Bitfury, who before had to sell all of their coins to finance their growth. So Hut 8 has really provided a solution to a working capital cycle problem that Bitfury had as a private company. Now, as a publicly traded stock, we can go to market and finance the next 100 megawatts. Included in that raise, we can pay for the electricity, so that this allows us to hold the coins. So it's a very compelling structure, and we believe it will be fun. So here's what Bitfury and Hut 8 are really trying to do, the game within the game. What happened 5 years ago is Bitfury went to Silicon Valley and tried to raise money from Andreessen Horowitz, et cetera. They did not get money. Instead, about 10 American miners and chip manufacturers were funded. All of those 10 companies are now bankrupt. Bitfury is still operating. They had to innovate, they had to hustle, and they've done that. However, on the other side of the Pacific, Bitmain was able to attract risk-tolerant capital. They were able to go to the ghost cities, make deals with the local mayor, put coal-fired power plants, take advantage of that. So you see China being red hot on this map. What that represents is the actual mining hash power distribution. It's a very uneven distribution, and it's not consistent with the ethos of Bitcoin, of decentralization. You have Jihan creating Bitcoin Cash, or Bitcoin China, as it's also known as. At the end of the day, Bitfury is excited to capitalize, redistribute the network mining. About 5% of the mining is done in North America. We intend to increase that to 25 to 30%. And again, Bitfury doesn't want the majority of the mining hashing power. They want a large part of it. But 20 to 30% of a $10 trillion industry is going to be just fine. The node distribution, that's the purple. So again, we can really see here that blockchain and the Bitcoin mining is in its nascent stage. And we're trying to rebalance the network, and we believe that we're going to do that with Hut 8. So we're going public on Tuesday. We have very compelling financials. At the end of the day, with the hash power that we're about to roll out, as everyone knows, the mining reward's 12.5. Because we can keep the coins on our balance sheet, we believe it provides a very compelling reason to invest in the company. So I didn't sanitize this deck for this talk. Obviously, this is the investor, but really, let's play pretend. If we had our 17 block boxes operating for the last 12 months, we would have mining margin of 185 million with just 57 boxes. So again, we will be rolling out 220 megawatts by the end of this year and line of sight on more. So if and when we get additional capital in, we just want to move quickly. That's what Bitfury wants to do, and that's what we want to do as well. Okay, so I have a bit of time left, but what I would like to finish with was to say that at the end of the day, I know what I can talk about. I'm prepared. So, Brady Fletcher is here. Frank Holmes is here. We are reverse takeover. We're using the RTO structure in Canada. It is a very compelling structure. I urge all the entrepreneurs in this room to consider this option. There's only one capital markets open right now for blockchain investments. That's Canada. You have the TSXV, which has an incredible due diligence regime, very professional. If you want to capitalize your cryptocurrency or your blockchain or your ICO startup, take a look at the RTO structure. It's a very compelling on-ramp for institutions to get access to investing in blockchain companies. So we've been able to, again, Hive is a fantastic company. They've really pioneered the way. We're right behind them. Other companies will come. The digital currency asset class is about a $500 billion market cap right now. Everybody in this room needs to innovate and to create companies so that it grows to the $10 trillion market that we all know that it's going to be. Competition is healthy, right? The ICO market is a bit harder to raise funds in. I tell everybody, take a look at the RTO structure in Canada. It's a very, very good way to get capitalized very quickly, yet still be within a tier 1 securities regulation regime globally, and also give an on-ramp for global financial institutions to invest. Okay, that's it. Thank you everybody for your time.